Jarvis, drop my needle.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and if you are interested in listening to idiots, you came to the right place. Have a nice day.
Woo! That's an attention getter.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Oh my God, he's an idiot.
You know, of course, that you're out of your jurisdiction.
Personally, I think you're an idiot.
But that's the evidence in the car.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to Free Range Idiocy, the podcast about everything, but mostly just the stuff we like. Without putting too fine of a point on things, getting old sucks. Along with mysterious sleep injuries, your first colonoscopy, aches that seem to predict the weather, losing hair in desirable places only for it to pop up in less desirable places like kudzu on steroids, and seeing that first AARP letter show up in the mailbox with your name on it, there's also the unconscious urge to begin every other sentence with, "Back in my day." Thus have we arrived at the topic of today's show, the announcement of Rock's demise, uttered by damn near every dad with a pair of white New Balance sneakers to their name. But nay, we say, nay! In this episode 232, we throw out an unpopular opinion that Rock isn't dead, you're just old and lazy. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, the man who enjoys telling kids to get off his lawn so much that he became the president of his HOA. He has been my partner in Idiocy for over 2 decades and will begin his campaign against skateboarders in the spring. I give you the man they call Tim.
Greetings and salutations, my friend. How are you?
Doing all right up here in Maine as the wintry mix continues to pour down. We were supposed to get precipitation yesterday that was like predicted for under an inch. No, we got like 4 inches. This wintry mix was supposed to be like a 1/4 inch. No, they're out plowing right now, so I think I'm going to be running the snowblower tomorrow morning. Yay!
Yeah, we were supposed to get a lot of snow over the weekend, and we've gotten like a dusting on both days. It's been kind of disappointing, but good. We're throwing it all
out here,
all east your way, and enjoy it. Have fun with it.
Well, on one hand, I'm kind of glad because when I got my snowblower a couple of years ago, I think I used it once the first year, and then like twice the next year. So it's like it does feel kind of good to see that investment pay some dividends, but
nice.
It's never a fun thing, you know. It's never like, ooh, I get to go snowblow. It's like, yeah. Especially when you have like your driveway ends on a main road and you have to get that crap at the end, which means that you kind of at some point have to like have, most of you in the road. So I'm timing it against like stoplights to make sure that I don't get like flattened. That's a hoot.
Hey, it's kind of like Frogger in a way.
It is, except it's a lot more higher stakes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the AARP thing because guess what I got in the mail this week?
I haven't gotten mine yet. My wife got one, though, so it's not that far behind.
It's funny because it's kind of like the greeting, hey, here you're 50. It's like, yeah, I am. You don't need to remind me. I mean, I'm honestly, I don't really, get too, tweaked about my age and stuff like that, but it's one of those things that's like, yeah, I don't know that I need it right now, really.
Yeah, I don't need you to remind me of this, know, when I wake up and I have to like spend a minute and a half stretching just to take a walk to go pee.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Indeed.
Yeah, and now that we have Happy in our house, like as soon as I get up and I go walking to the John in the middle of the night, trying not to turn on lights because I don't want to wake up my wife who sleeps lighter than light, so she's going to hear the flick of a light switch and
yeah.
I also have to worry about now a very exuberant and excitable cat who's on the night shift.
Does he go swinging at your legs?
Oh, he's like wants to be right under my feet.
Oh my gosh! Have I told you the story about my sister's cat when I lived at home? This is a long time ago, galaxy far, far away. All right, finish your thought, and I'll tell my cat story. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say,
finish your Happy story.
We've had our previous 2 cats were a black and white tuxedo cat, and then before that was Bootsy, the big black cat, who is just a pure black Maine Coon. So both of them in the friggin' middle of the night, it's like a stealth bomber, just like you never knew where they were. Happy is at least like he's a middling gray tuxedo. So he's mostly gray with white. So there's sometimes I can see the contrast as opposed to shadows, but it's still not easy, man. It's still taking your life in your hands. But anyways, what's your story with your cat? Like, how did this cat try and kill you? Because they are trying to kill you.
Back in my 20s, when I was still going to school, I transferred from UConn to UNH, lived at home. My parents very nicely decided to take part of their basement, turn it into like kind of a partially finished basement, let me live down there. But that's also where my sister's cat lived, at night, especially. And so I had a bedroom.
So you had a roomie.
Yeah, had a room, which I didn't mind. I mean, I enjoy cats. I typically enjoy pets, at least, if I don't have to take care of them, and which I didn't have to this one. So, in the middle of the night, and so part of this is they also installed a bathroom in the basement as well. So I had a bathroom to use. Oh, and so nice. In the middle of the night,
so at least you have to share the cat box.
Indeed. Nature calls. So I would get up and basically I'd have to walk. So like if my bedroom was here, the bathroom was kind of over here in the basement or like here. So I had to kind of walk this like arc to get to it. Mm-hmm. And as part of that arc, so I walk out of my bedroom and there's kind of like at that point, like I don't want to call it a family room, but there's like, a couch and a TV. It's kind of like a living room. Mm-hmm. And then I would walk and get to the bathroom. And so I'm walking on this arc, and of course it's pitch black out. This is before cell phone, so I had no like little device to like just shine a light on to see where I'm going.
You didn't have the old mag light?
No, I didn't have a mag light. Didn't have anything. I just knew, like I kept the place clean, so I knew like a path that I could walk where I wouldn't trip over something. And as I'm walking,
you like the guy from Rogue One. I am one with the Force. The Force is with me. I am one with the Force. The Force is with me.
That's exactly what it was. Indeed. Once again, sir, you nailed it.
Which is exactly what every cat owner does when you hear the cat throw up in the middle of the night and you have no idea where. That's exactly what you're doing. I have one with the Force. The Force is with me. I want,
Yep.
Right between the toes.
Yep.
Anyways.
Basically.
So you're walking on the
So
arc.
I'm walking to the bathroom, and this is the same coming back from the bathroom too. And as I'm walking, all of a sudden I would feel on my ankles the like pinpricks of whack, 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 whack. And it's just like, what the hell just happened? Like, if I wasn't awake, I was now awake. If I was in this sort of sleep zombified state, it snapped me out of it in a second because I felt like I had like something stabbing my ankles in some sort of like, violent fashion. And and so it was the cat doing whatever it was doing, whacking, just taking its front paws and just nailing my legs. And so it got to the point where when I would go to use the restroom, I also had a yardstick down in the basement. And so literally what I would do is I would create a spherical perimeter where I would just move it back. Literally, I was like the guy from Rogue One. I'm just, moving it back and forth. Because I'm just thinking, if he at least thinks there's a slight chance he'll get whacked by the yardstick, he will leave me alone. And he did. And so I got him that way. But nonetheless, I was just, it was a love-hate relationship with that cat in some ways. It's just kind of like, dude, why'd you got to do it? Just go sleep on the couch, be quiet, leave me alone. I'm just needing to use the bathroom for a moment. And then I'm back in bed and I'll leave you alone. This is also the cat that decided to wake me up several times, sitting on my chest. I wake up and I'm like trying to breathe because of the mass of this cat on top of me, and its face is right here. It's just like, seriously, dude, you couldn't have just given me a warning.
Dude, cats don't understand personal space unless it's their personal space.
Exactly.
You have no personal space.
No.
So,
cat's name was Buddy, by the way. God rest his soul. He was a good cat. He just drove me nuts a couple times.
So I was concerned that Happy, being only about a year and a half old, that he was going to be a feet attacker. Because there's nothing better than being woken out of a dead sleep because you had the audacity to like twitch a foot, and the cat's like,
right,
attack,
right.
Like that's not a fun way to wake up. However, what I have understood, he's very much a snuggler, so he likes to sleep like up against you, and I think it was like the second or third night that he was with us. he's up against me, and he also stretches. Like he's like a cat accordion. When he gets comfy, he just and he like stretches to his full length.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of reached my hand down and tried to get my hand in a more comfortable position. Apparently, where I put my hand, he was not a fan, because he instantly wrapped his paws around me. I was like, and like latched on.
Those aren't pillows.
And he didn't break
sorry, you
skin,
made me think of that.
and he wasn't trying to break skin, but it was definitely that is a no-go zone. Like whatever I did, like touch his paws or his haunch or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was dark. And I'm just like, ah! And my wife, of course, is like, well, you must have touched him in the wrong spot or this and that. Well, it happened to her last night.
Oh,
she was tried to pet him in the middle of the night, and he was dead asleep, and apparently woke up and was like, ah! So I was like, yeah, it's not just me. You got to watch out. This cat's on full alert.
Oh yeah. You don't want to piss him off.
All right, we weren't going to spend a whole episode discussing cats, and yet here we are. So the topic
it took
of today's show,
230. It took 232 episodes to finally tell the cat story. I just want to say that. I've had this one in the holster for a while, and just this is the time to bring it out. So,
well, I'm very glad that you did. It was very entertaining. I appreciate it.
I love to get the happy update, because he is a new part of the Free Range Idiocy Network family here. So, of course, we always want to hear about the tomfoolery and ballyhoo of one Happy Hope.
He is a psychopath when he decides to get frisky. We've got we've got a little bouncy ball, and of course the feather with the bell and all that. And he gets a wild eyes, like he's gone feral.
Oh, good.
Like, oh my gosh.
Nice.
And then he goes to sleep for like 4 hours. Like,
nice.
And then at like 2 a.m., it's like a cat rave in our living room when he gets a hold of the catnip. It's like basically, yeah. Wake up,
oh my God, that's hysterical. Oh,
still has not meowed though. Still has not made a meow or a sound or anything.
One thing I did use to get back at Buddy the cat for swiping at my legs outside of the yardstick was when we were all during the day up and awake and that sort of thing, is I did have a remote control car, and I did decide to chase him around with the car. Now the funny thing is there's a pool table that was in the basement.
Funny thing is you're a college student.
Funny thing is there's a pool table in the basement. And we would put up a slab of drywall. It's basically, it was like leftover drywall from when they were finishing the basement. We laid it on top of the felt so he couldn't do the cat thing on the felt. So what he would do is he would jump up on that and just look down and just like do that, that chatty thing that cats do with like, they kind of make and he's just like, it's like he's cursing the car as I'm driving it around. I'm doing like loops around. He's just like cursing the car. Like, you son of a.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
Very much a cat thing. I'm familiar with that.
Indeed.
All right. Maybe we should get on to the topic at hand.
Sir, you are the Captain Kirk of this enterprise, so I will let you take it away. By the way, I am watching the Bears game over here, fourth quarter, 10-10 against the Rams, tightly contested. And the Rams are not an OT. We're in the fourth quarter, 9 minutes left.
Oh,
the Rams are making a run at the goal line, so this could change in a moment. So,
and this is in Chi-Town, right?
This is in Chi-Town. Yes, indeed.
All right.
Soldier Field.
All right. We will see. So this one kind of comes out of a little frustration for me because I've heard this so many times, and it's like I get sick of it after a while but also because I recognize the fault in me because I'm very much a creature of habit, and I listen to my playlists and my various artists that I've got on my devices, and I kind of realize like how much exploring am I doing, and it's kind of a nature of the beast as to getting older. Like you kind of get comfortable. But this also comes out of our discussion many episodes ago when we were talking about Van Halen. And we kind of, at one point I remember you saying like, there's no new Eddie Van Halen. And I remember that my response was there probably is. It's just that music is not aimed at us. We're not the audience anymore. We're past where that music is being aimed at. And I aged approximately a decade right after I said that. And I had a hip problem after that, apparently. So
my hip.
But I feel like the declaration that rock is dead just seems to happen constantly.
Wait, the rock is dead? What? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, if you smell breaking news, Dwayne Johnson
Oh boy.
choked on a protein shake. But it is one of those things that does verge into old bastard territory where you're just like, okay, just shut up, because you're not even being rational anymore. That's the thing. Like, it's not even rational talk. It's like, it just becomes this whole like, back in my day, it was so much better than it is today, and these kids and blah, 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 blah. And, you eventually get to the point of almost screeching to get off. You're either screeching at clouds or for kids to get off your lawn. And I kind of get tired of that. I think that the truth is that there's a lot of good music out there, even though people poo-poo that all the time. But there's a lot of good rock music out there in particular. There's new artists, there's new bands all the time. The trouble is, like I said, most old fogies, and here I'm including ourselves in this, we're sticking to our favorites. We're not exploring what's new. Then, of course, like I said before, like, it's not aimed at us anymore. And I think there is also this aspect of it that pisses people off, that it's not being aimed at me anymore. It's like, well, you're not 20 anymore. You're not in your teens anymore. You're not spending all your time thinking about the new record that's coming out or whatever. So it's easy to miss in some respects.
Yeah.
Slip under the radar.
Yeah.
Part of this, actually a lot of this I blame on classic rock radio, because I think we're of that generation that really has grown up with classic rock radio most of our lives. Because I looked this up because I was like trying to figure out when was the beginning of this as a thing. Because back in the day, it was just radio, so it's like, it was just rock and roll. That was that. It just played whatever was going on then. And then whatever that wasn't being played that was rock and roll was like either R&B or like oldies, like going back to like jazz and all, easy listening, what we call easy listening now. But classic rock radios was early to mid 80s, which surprised me. I was like, I really thought that was kind of later 80s. But so, I mean, this has been around literally most of our lives, of like our conscious lives. And remember, back in the day, I'm here just exercising my age again. Back in the day, when you would drive around in the car, you didn't have Apple CarPlay. You didn't have CD players. Most cars like didn't have tape decks back then, so you just had the radio, whatever stations you could tune into. And so that had a huge influence on what people were listening to. And it's like the idea is like, when classic rock first started coming out, it was trying to appeal to that aging audience that had been raised on 60s and 70s rock music. And now they're getting a little bit older, so it's like, okay, well, let's feed them the stuff that they like, and that way we can keep getting advertising dollars. Then it, of course, extends into the 1990s. That becomes grouped into the classic rock, which is still a little tough for me to bear, that when you think about it now, Nirvana is classic rock. That stings a little bit, which the utter so this then leads to the utter tragedy of the tagline that so many classic rock stations, I've actually heard this not that long ago, when they talk about the best in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. I'm like,
what about the aughts?
Today,
what about the
today
10s?
is almost as long as the other eras you're mentioning. Like, today is an awfully long, swing of time here that you're just kind of playing off, because they're really focusing on like 70s and 80s and 90s. And then the biggest tragedy in this, and I think this is something that we can talk a little bit about here, because this has always been a pet peeve of mine. Not only are you then dealing with a locked box of music, because all that music has been made, it's been there, it's established. It's not just that, it's incredibly cherry picked. It's not even like greatest hits, it's like the greatest of greatest hits. So taking a band like Led Zeppelin, because that was always a friggin' thing, like every classic rock station would have, at 4:00 we get the lead out, and because they play like 2 or 3 Zeppelin songs in a row. Inevitably, it's like one of 6 to 8 Led Zeppelin songs. Zeppelin put out a bunch of albums, but they don't. But you're lucky if you hear a total of 8 of them, and that's actually a big spread because. What the hell was that?
You okay over there? Jeez, is Happy taking a couple swings at the ankles? What's going on?
Well, no, I thought the door had opened or something. I thought it was my I don't want to reveal too much here, but I'm wearing pajama pants because it's comfy pants time o'clock here at the at Free Range Idiocy HQ here. But like apparently my PJs like just moved enough when my leg moved. I thought like the cat was rubbing up against me and the door's closed.
Oh, geez.
So I'm like, okay, if it wasn't the cat, like what the hell other critter do I have in here?
Yeah.
But I don't see any varmints, so I think we're safe. But I mean,
can I jump in with something for a moment?
Yes, please, because I'm just
based on what you've said. So yeah. Because one thing I think that might, that kind of lends itself to what you're talking about is the fact, like you said. So in our time, as we were growing up, our childhood and teen years from the 80s into the 90s, the channel of input for music was the radio. And then as we grew older and started to have the ability to earn income, we would get into things like Columbia House or, some of those other, Ponzi schemes where you could pay a penny and get, a bunch of albums.
You go to the record store.
Or go to the record store, right?
Record Town or Tape World or what, Strawberries or whatever.
The nexus was, the nexus point was radio, and that's what inspired you to then go to those places.
Yeah.
When we get to, looking
or
at,
MTV.
Yes, sorry. MTV was the other, marketing channel as well. Now it feels to me like it's way more open because we have, Spotify with streaming, you have YouTube, you have TikTok, you have Instagram, you have all these different channels that musicians can, kind of utilize to market themselves. And so the marketing and the communication of the music is not as centralized as it once was. It's a lot more distributed now.
Yeah. And
so I'm wondering if that is also what, and again, you're right about our age. I mean, and it was true with our, with our parents, right? Their focus and what they were into, shifts, it shifts as you get older. That's why they talk about the young demographic of 18 to, 32 or something like that, because they are, of a particular habit and way of living versus those who get older where they take their eyes off of what is, mainstream media and their focus is elsewhere, and so, because one of the, things I was kind of thinking through and struggling with a little bit was, how do you understand who those bands are now? Because to me, for me, the way I take in content is honestly through Spotify. Like I don't when I listen to the radio, I'm usually listening to, like news stations because I'm, wanting to get whatever updates on, news events, or there's talk shows that I like or something like that. Otherwise, I'm listening to Spotify and it's my curated list of things that I want to listen to.
You have the algorithm working for and against you.
Exactly. And so to your point, your exposure to new things is somewhat limited to what you've exposed to the algorithm and to the, service that you're listening to. And so, so I do think, to your point, there's a real nugget of truth and kind of like a little bit of an issue there of how do we expose ourselves to new things when we have now services and channels that allow us to hone in on the things that we really enjoy, and are known. So it's discovering the unknown versus, kind of staying within what's comfortable and known.
I don't even know if it's like allowing us. It's like, it's in a way forcing us. Like that's the double-edged sword of like, oh, well, here's stuff that you like, but there's no variation. So it's essentially like, okay, here's all the stuff, because I've seen this on YouTube. Like all it takes is watching like one or two videos, and then all of a sudden now that's my entire feed. And I'm like, well, what about this other thing that I subscribe to other channels? Why is that not showing up? Like it's gotten almost more forceful. It feels where it's like, oh, you like this? Here, let's just shove everything about this in your face. Like you must have no other interests. Like you're a one-dimensional being. And like that algorithm is just shoving everything into your face. Like, okay, here's something that's similar. And I ran into this when I first started using like Pandora, or actually, yeah, it was Pandora, because it would be very weird to me that, like I'd want to listen to like, I'd be like, I just want to listen to jazz. So I'd put in like John Coltrane. And weirdly, you would think that someone with a catalog like John Coltrane had, you would get a lot of stuff. And I noticed after a while, I'm like, it's the same. It's kind of like replaying songs. Like it's a very narrow selection. I'm like, that is so weird to me. But then I found, for whatever reason, I put on Hank Mobley, who is another tenor sax player. All of a sudden, I got this incredible variation of stuff. I'm like, why is it keying off of this artist and not this other artist? Not that Hank Mobley was some schlub. Like, he's very well known, has a great catalog of his own. But for some reason, when I put him in, there was no repeats. And it would throw in interesting other artists who were similar, but not exactly the same. But with John Coltrane, it seemed like it narrowed the funnel down. And I'm like, why is that? Like, what? How does that even mathematically work out? But it's like, if I'm going through a playlist that I have, or I finish up an album on Apple Music and it starts then feeding me stuff that's like, oh, well, this is similar, to keep playing. Yeah, it's similar. And then I realize, I'm like, I'm just kind of listening to all stuff that I've all listened to before.
Yeah.
It's not really feeding me anything new, you know? And, in the same way that classic rock was working against, hearing anything new, or even hearing anything more than the 4 or 5 songs that, classic rock stations decided was the 4 or 5 songs that you play by Pink Floyd, or, Eddie Money, or whoever. Like, these are the only songs we play. We don't play B-sides. We don't do deep cuts. It's the same thing. Like, it's just feeding you the same stuff day after day after day, to the point where, like, if you listen to classic rock stations, it's almost the thing where, like, you can set your watch by it. Like, oh, they played The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. Must be 10:58. It's weird, man.
And you're watching perspectives.
Yeah. And it's like, you're just kind of trapped into this little box, and it kind of makes it understandable, but it's also infuriating, because it leads to this whole, well, there's no more good rock and roll anymore. It's like, you just have to look for it.
Yep.
Which, excuse me, is part of the problem with being old, because I get comfy and set in my ways, so I can fully understand, and I also get there's a certain amount of bragging rights. Like, you get the folks of the older set who they were the folks who got to go see Led Zeppelin for $3.25 back at, whatever, the Cow Palace, and they saw the Who live for $1.75, and it happened to be with like 3 other bands that are all legendary. It builds up this mystique of like, well, all the bands back then were so great and everything was wonderful, and these bands they never had a bad song. And it's like, it's not necessarily true. There was a lot of crappy bands back then too. And if you listen to a band's catalog, even if it's a band that you really love, you'll notice some unevenness, So it's like, there is a little bit of that sort of like, oh, back in the day, it was all great. Not necessarily, like there was a guy that I knew, and Rush, because he grew up in Detroit. He grew up not in Detroit, but in Michigan. Rush played his high school prom. I was like, okay, that's a pretty cool thing. But it's like, you're still holding that up as like your coolness cred at like 30 years later. Like, things have happened since then.
Yep.
Like, I'm just saying, like, if that's your one credit, like, maybe you need to venture out a little bit more.
Can I interrupt with a football update?
Yes. Where are we at?
So with 18 seconds left in the game, the Rams up by 7.
Oh,
Caleb
boy.
Williams was under the QB of the Bears, is under pressure by 2 defensive men who are coming at him. He throws up a pass toward the end zone, and a Bears receiver catches it and is now 17-17.
Wow.
With I think 15 seconds left in the game. So I think we're going OT, baby.
All right.
Bear down, bear down. Oh, no, never mind. I'm sorry. I don't know the song. I just know it's like bear down or something. So, anyways,
I barely even know that.
Do the Patriots even have a song?
No.
Okay.
Because for that franchise for like 40 years, it used to be just the sound of tears and drunken shouting.
It was the weeping and gnashing of an entire nation.
It was.
Region of the country.
And just drunks puking up Schaefer beer into a cardboard box. That was pretty much it. That was the Patriots anthem.
Yeah.
But here's the problem, though, is that it does highlight the laziness of getting older, because the solution is basically changing the channel. And it's easier now than ever before, because any of the streaming platforms that you have, you can just go to the tab that's going to have rock music, and they have new releases right there that you could listen to.
Which tab is that? I have like 50 tabs open. You've seen my tabs, so.
Oh my gosh, no! I don't even want to think about the sheer, like, people think that AI is using up natural resources. No. It's Tim's Chrome installation that's using up like most of the power in Chicago tonight, running 50 to 100 tabs at a time.
You see the lights start to dim. Zzz. Too many tabs.
It's like the father in A Christmas Story when he goes to plug in the tree, and it's just all the lights go out. Like, nobody move. It's a fuse.
It's official. We're going to OT, baby. We're going to OT. The Rams and Bears 17-17 tied up. Going to OT for the divisional championship. Here we go.
You are way too excited about two teams that you could give less than a crap about.
Hey. As I said to a coworker when we were talking about football this week, I said,
I love the pause after you're like, hey.
No. It's kind of like The Godfather. As long as your team's interests don't conflict with my team's interests, we're good. As soon as they do, it's the Patriots. I'm sorry. It's just how it is.
Be very interesting to get a Patriots-Bears rematch.
And it's the 40th anniversary, by the way.
It is? Oh, that's
It is
right.
40 years since game, which we shall not speak of, but...
wait, was that after the 86 season? So was it 1987?
No, it was the 85 season that went into 86 for the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And we're in the same boat here.
Oof, that was rough.
That's some juju, baby. Some juju at work.
That was not a good game.
All I remember is William Refrigerator Perry running with the ball to the end zone to score a touchdown, and there's like 2 or 3 Patriots hanging off of him as he's running because they couldn't take him down.
Yeah, and the ultimate insult, Walter Payton, no touchdown in that game.
Yep.
And they scored 40 some odd points. Like, how does that even happen?
Yep.
Oof. Yep. A team that should have won multiple Super Bowls. That Bears team was frightening. Oh, my gosh. I just remember back in the day, my dad used to refer to Steve Grogan as that poor bastard, just because he was always getting his clock cleaned. Like,
yes. Oh, earlier, Grogan just reeked fragility. I even as a kid, I looked at him and I'm like, oh, my God, they're going to destroy him.
Well, the fact is, like, early in his career, like, he was a running quarterback. He was kind of like Steve Young before Steve Young, but, he got the tar knocked out of him, season after season after season. So yeah, towards the end of his career, he was just like, all it took was a sharp gust of wind and his knee froze up.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So here we've got a few suggestions for y'all, for all of you folks out there who feel that rock is dead. We're going to give you a little help, but quite honestly, this did not take a lot of time to compile. Like, it's very easy to find some bands that are good out there and making their mark right now and under the age of like 80. So we don't have to go and see if the Stones are going to tour next year, which, kind of hope they don't.
Get the IV out, ladies and gentlemen. Get the IV out.
Yeah. So I'm going to start off, and let's see. Maybe I'll do like 2 and you throw in 1. Does that sound good?
I only put 3 up, so you use me sparingly because
okay.
I don't know any of these bands, so I'm hoping you can speak to them a little bit more than I can.
All right. I mean,
the 3 that I have, I can speak to, but yes.
I'm not going to go in depth with a ton of these just because, like, I don't feel the need to give the resume, and we can't play the music on the show without getting banned in every country on the planet.
I know.
So this is pretty much like you just have to go and find them, and I'll I'll link to them in the show notes. What the hell? I've got some extra time this week. So the first one I'm going to mention is Mammoth. Of course, we've got Wolfgang Van Halen, Eddie's kid, multi-instrumentalist. Turns out the kid's a hell of a singer, and he's not a kid anymore.
It's a hell of a hand. Hell of a hand.
Oh my gosh, their new album was and another thing for me a few weeks ago. Phenomenal, and just one of those deals where you're like, yeah, this is really good. And even though he's not a kid, still this counts. Like this is younger. This is newer stuff than what most old fogies are listening to, and it's well worth it. If he keeps up this pace of releasing music and kind of perfecting his craft and developing as a musician and an artist, the next like 10, 15 years from this guy are going to be really interesting where he goes with this, because he has his own distinct voice as a guitarist and as a songwriter. There's enough connections to what Eddie's style that you can see how you got from A to B.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a copycat. It's not a constant homage to his dad. Like, this guy is kind of carving his own legacy. His own legacy, and it's really exciting to watch, and really exciting to listen to. My God, dude can play the hell out of a guitar, and his band is killer. His band is
there.
Really
there was a
good.
song you mentioned to me a couple episodes ago that I listened to as we were kind of wrapping up an episode, and I was kind of blown away by how good it was. So
yeah.
I do need to listen to this a bit, because he's bringing some energy here, my friend.
And it's heavy, but it's not like so heavy that it's like, oh my gosh, I can't listen to it without, cringing. If you're not into like, metal and stuff like that, like it doesn't quite get that far, but it's got some weight to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another one I'm going to mention is a dude that I kind of came across. I think the first time I kind of heard of him was in the Ozzy tribute stuff that came out after he passed away. And then he released an EP with Aerosmith, which was another thing for me. Youngblood, 28 years old, I believe, from England. This dude kind of has the rock star vibe. Like he kind of has that old school rock star vibe of being a little bit of the theatric, but he kind of gets it.
Mm-hmm.
He really seems like he kind of gets it. And you like listen to the EP that he did with Aerosmith. I have not listened to a ton of stuff of just him, but the work he did with Aerosmith, I'm like, here's a guy who kind of understands the audience. He understands who he's working with.
Yeah.
And kind of cobbled together something that dovetailed really nicely with Aerosmith's established sound, and then takes it, gives it a little bit of a tweak. I wasn't a huge fan of the Back in the Saddle remix that's at the end of the EP, but the other songs are really friggin' good. Really good.
Yep.
And it's one of those deals where you look at this and you're like, okay, I think the kid gets it, and I think he's gonna be someone to be reckoned with going forward. I got to check out more of his music. The little bits of samples that I've found sound pretty good, but I got to dive in more. But got a hell of a voice. So yeah, that's someone who could be around for quite a while. I'll do one more, and then we'll drop into a couple of yours here. Vintage Trouble. This is one of my favorite ones of the list, because this is a band that they're an LA quartet. They've been around since 2010. Their lead singer is almost like if you reincarnated like Sam Cooke or Otis Redding and threw him in front of a rock band.
Oh,
like this dude has got some soul. He has got conviction in his voice. There's people that you hear singing that you're like, they mean every note of that. And this is one of those dudes. Like, he's got power. He is a dynamic front man. He is someone that is just fun to watch, and he sings his ass off. They do a cover of With a Little Help from My Friends, the Joe Cocker version of it that is explosive. Their own music is this mixture of like rock, blues, almost like a gospel sort of thing going on with soul. Just a ton of energy from these guys, and a great example of like, oh my gosh, yeah, the future is bright. Like these these bands are someone to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And yeah, this out of this list, this is one of my favorite ones. They are really, really, really freaking good. Go ahead and tell the people a little bit of one or two of yours, however many you want.
I'll just do one. So the first one and the one that I've really had an experience with, and it was actually through SNL. You know, we talked about the channels of how we hear this music and how we respond to it. And this was I don't remember what year they did at SNL. It might have been 2022 or 23. But this band called I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's Måneskin. It's Maneskin, but the A has the 2 dots above it, so it's pronounced a little differently. It's like
an umlaut, eh?
An umlaut. They did for their first song on SNL, they did this song called "Beggin'," which was done by the Four Seasons, sung by Frankie Valli. They did their own version of it, and you got to listen to it. I put the link there, so if you want to click on it and just listen to the beginning of it. They are a great band. They have a female bassist, their drummer, their guitarist, the lead singer. The lead singer has an amazing voice. Like he's like a lead singer, you know, caliber level of voice. Like this guy can carry a tune. And the other song they did was "I Want to Be Your Slave," which they have a little bit of a S&M thing going on with some of the stuff they do, but they're amazing. They are a group, I believe, from Italy. They actually do some songs in Italian, and they actually go back and forth between Italian and English pretty, regularly and smoothly. But man, when I saw them on SNL, I was like, holy crap, who is this band? Because they are good. And so I've listened to some of their stuff since then. They did I was just looking up on YouTube here. They did during quarantine for COVID, they did this song. I think it's a cover of this song called Black Skinhead, I think is what it's called. And all 4 of them are just, they're in their own areas, not, working together, but recorded their parts and then they combine them for this recording and for this YouTube clip. And not clip, it's basically the song, and really good. Just amazing. And so to your point, like there are bands out there that are rock bands that are doing the work, that are putting in the time, that are building a following. And, even though this band is more European than American, they, I mean, just when I saw them on SNL, I mean, it's just like, it made me kind of sit up. Usually when I'm watching SNL, I'm in bed and I'm just kind of watching it. And I mean, this one, I like sat up in bed and I'm like watching them. Like I'm very focused on them because I'm like, damn, this is good. This is really good, and this is like Jack White good, sort of thing. Like Jack White to me he set the bar for performances on that show, and they came pretty damn close because it just had a vibe and energy to it that was just like, damn, I want to get up and kind of move to this music, so if you haven't checked them out, definitely do so. They are very good. So the songs I kind of put in our show outline was "Beggin'," this other one called "Gossip," which I think is a little bit more recent, and then I Want to Be Your Slave, which I know doesn't sound great, but it's a good song. So do check it out. Måneskin, Maneskin. I don't know. I don't mean to make it sound like an and another thing, but it is something I would highly recommend.
Nice. Another one, this is one I just found yesterday as I was searching around here. A band called Crown Lands, which is a Canadian duo. I'm always a sucker for a drummer lead singer because to me it is one of the more ridiculous things possible because drummers are already doing something with every limb constantly, anyways, and of course now you're going to sing, and to me that's like you're just showing off. And it pisses me off. Just being honest. So you got a drummer, lead singer, and a guitarist who basically does everything else. It's a blend of blues, rock, and prog rock, which I thought might be tickle your fancy a little bit. And in fact, they're Canadian. I mean,
there we go. The second coming, if you will.
But they're kind of interesting in that. Let me just pull up a little bit here. It's there was something about them that kind of I should have had this a little more prepared. So let me see this song Leadfoot. It's it's just very chunky. I mean, there's something reminiscent of the White Stripes or maybe the Black Keys, but it's a lot more polished. Whereas, like to me, White Stripes, Black Keys, especially White Stripes, very much like lo-fi garage rock. Crown Lands seems like, okay, let's take that and let's polish it up and get it nice and glossy, which is definitely cool by me because these guys sound like they kick ass. So that's an interesting one. Another one that I came across, this one's interesting because one of the guys in my band suggested a song by this band called Dirty Honey. And what was the song that he wanted to do? It's utterly ridiculous how good the song is. Rollin' Sevens. Oh my gosh. So good. Nope, that's not it because that's a previous song. Is that it? Yes. Oh my gosh. So guitarist in the band was like, "Hey, we ought to do this song." And I'm like, "All right." I'm listening to it. I'm like, I don't know who you think is singing in this band, but you obviously think we have another singer besides me because I don't know who's going to sing this. He's like, no, you can do it. You can do it. I'm like, are you just off your nut?
Yeah.
Like my voice doesn't do what that guy's voice does. Can hit like these high notes. And it is one of those things where it's like, I don't know where exactly to place the music, but there's a bit of almost like a glam rock, but there's a serious grit to them as well.
Yeah.
And a real bit of blues, but very in your face, really good, solid band.
Yeah.
And they've been around, they're an LA band. They've been around since 2017. So another band that ain't been around, 9 years. Okay. That's a decent amount for a band, but still it's a lot newer than, a lot of the crap some of the fogies are listening to. So give that one a look especially if you're one of those folks like, yeah, Deep Purple is the best, this, like, no, these guys might fit the bill, like straight ahead, some pretty, hard riffs. Like, I think this is a winner for a lot of folks. What do you got, sir?
So the next band that I, recommended here actually, serendipitously came from last night when I was watching SNL. It came back from its holiday break, and for next week, not last night, but for next or this coming Saturday, is a band called Geese. I have never heard of them, but they have
another band out there called Goose, I think, too. So you have to make sure you keep those straight.
Could be. They are an American rock band. They formed in 2016 in Brooklyn, New York. They consist of Cameron Winter, who is vocal, keyboard, guitar, Emily Green, who's guitar, Dominic DeJesu, who is bass, and Max Basin, who is drums. That's ironic. Max Basin, who's drums. I think that Max would be the bassist. But nonetheless, they've had several albums, but their album I think that they've been most known for is called Getting Killed. I've included a couple links to that. They were on October 1st. They performed a song off that album on Jimmy Kimmel Live called Taxes. What's funny about them is I don't know how I would categorize them as far as, I mean, they are rock, but they are a different flavor of rock. They are not like hard guitar, Zeppelin, Rush, sort of rock. They have a style to them that is very different. I'm not quite sure how to, categorize them.
Kind of feels indie rock to me.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I would call them prog because I don't honestly know what would really qualify for prog, but yeah, they just have their own kind of style. And, I listened to Taxes and I listened to another song called, Au Pays du Cocaine. So I don't know exactly what that means, but nonetheless, just has some have a couple songs that have done really well. I think both of these songs are highly rated, or they're most listened to on Spotify. And so so their album called Getting Killed, I would just because of its popularity and the way that it's kind of grown in terms of listenership on the streaming services and that sort of thing, I would just recommend that. So if you're looking for something a little bit off the beaten path, it sounds like they would be worth a listen.
Nice. And there is a band called Goose. I just wanted to confirm that.
Well,
that it wasn't a hallucination on my part.
Nope.
Here's one that I found, again, just in a quick search yesterday. Radio Moscow is a trio from Iowa. They were formed in 2003, and I think it's the guitarist / lead singer who is kind of the mainstay of the band, and it sounds like they've gone through a couple of iterations on the other instruments, but right now they have been, I think this lineup has been around for a little while. I mean, not exactly my favorite jam, but I mean, it's pretty good stuff. It feels a little bit more indie rock to me, but that's cool too. Again, I don't know a lot about them, but again, like this is quick searching, folks. Like, this is not deep research that took me all of the past month and a half. Like, you can find stuff out there pretty easily. The one I did want to make sure I got to was this band called The Warning. And these are three sisters who formed a trio in Monterrey, Mexico, back in 2013. I believe they first came to attention when they were covering other people's songs and posting the videos on YouTube. And they did a cover of Enter Sandman, and the bassist sister looks like she's barely able to, like, the bass looks really big on her because she's obviously very young in the video. But they were tight, man. Like, it was really good. And now, seeing their newer stuff, it's like, oh my gosh. It looks like the lead vocals are shared between the guitarist and the drummer. So I kind of like that. I love a band that has more than one lead singer. Kind of keeps things interesting.
Yep.
They can get heavy, but they also can I feel like can be a little melodic as well. Not to mention, it's just kind of cool seeing, like, something like that, where I love the dynamic of three siblings kind of managing to not, hit each other in the head,
kill each other
in the middle of the gig. It goes completely antithetical to most of the way I've seen brothers and sisters behave. So I'm like, wow, this is just very weird. But yeah, they're definitely worth checking out for sure, and something I'm adding to my rotation, because
nice.
Out of the bands I kind of found yesterday, they were the one where I was like, okay, because I saw a video clip of them, and I'm like, okay, I got to find out what this is about, because they just had the way they were performing. I was like, there's just something about them that grabbed me, and I'm like, the music is good, and I kind of I want more info on these ladies. They seem really cool. So yeah, The Warning seems like a pretty good direction to go with as well. And what do you got for one here, sir?
A band from Baltimore, Maryland, who are categorized as American rock. I've put a couple of their songs up in their or one song and then their album, which are both titled the same, Never Enough. Actually, Never Enough, you got to wait till about a minute in to get into the hardness of the rock, but they've, they're somewhat categorized as a hardcore punk group. But yeah, just bring the energy and the sound, to it. And so they they formed in actually 2010, and are seemingly starting to kind of get, I don't mean to say starting to get momentum, but just seem to have some momentum now, in terms of popularity and notoriety. And so, just, from what I've listened of them, just has a really, sharp and energetic and hard energy to what they do. And, so just, Turnstile from Baltimore, Maryland.
I'm listening to the video right now.
you have to get to the minute mark to hear the energy part. So
yeah,
just
the
kind of
synth lasted forever, but once it kicks in here,
it's got a good energy to it. I'm just like, damn, I got to listen to this more. So, but to your, this kind of goes to your point though, is like us doing the show kind of puts me in a position where I need to kind of go look for it. And honestly, like when I'm on the train or when I'm commuting, or if I'm going and running errands, I recognize that I'm leaning on, oh crap. The Rams have won, ladies and gentlemen. The Rams just kicked a field goal in overtime to win. Boy. They have won in Chicago at Soldier Field.
Is Chicago going to still be there when I'm
Pardon me
in February?
For a moment. Son of a bitch. So, ladies and gentlemen, I share in the agony that my colleagues, my friends must be going through right now. Seeing the hometown team displaced in their home court, in their home field. Sorry, one more time. Son of a bitch. There it is.
The Rams.
So Rams are taking on the fifth seeded Rams are taking on the Seahawks.
Yeah, well,
dang it. Curse them.
Well,
but anyways, I don't know where I was with Turnstile, but they are definitely a band worth listening to. And another band where I love to see some of the female representation here. They have a guitarist, Meg Mills, who is playing with them, and so she's the rhythm guitar. But we have Daniel Fang on drums, freaky quote unquote Franz Lyons, who is bass, percussion, vocals. Brendan Yates, who does lead vocals, percussion, keyboards. Man, how many percussionists do they have on this band?
All of them. They're
Pat
all
McCory lead guitar, backing vocals, rhythm guitar, and then Meg Mills, rhythm guitar.
No percussion?
No percussion, unfortunately.
That lazy son of a...
I know. So anyway, so definitely check out Turnstile because they're bringing some energy to the music, and so again, like we talked about, I think it is a I think if anything, it is a call to action, if you will, if you're kind of stuck, because here's how I am. Like when I do my commutes, I do my errands, I'm going to like my liked list, or I'm going to podcasts that I want to listen to catch up on, or I'm listening to something else. And, I think what you're kind of raising here a little bit is, see what else is out there, kind of, if you use Spotify, go explore, go discover, go listen to something you haven't listened to before, because until I listened to Geese and Turnstile, I was like, damn, I had no idea that there was this out there. When Uncle Todd mentioned Mammoth to me, I'm like, holy crap, this sounds good. Like I can get into this, but it's until I go and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, my habit is to fall back to the stuff that I feel comfortable with and enjoy. And that's the problem, because then it gives the perspective or the perception of there's nothing new out there, when in fact there is. And it's a different world, because when we grew up, the world was a lot more, centralized and singular in terms of those channels. And now there's just a broader range of ways to get to, to get the music, to hear these different artists and to kind of lock into something. And so I think the encouragement here is to spread your wings and check it out.
Use your ego powers.
That's right. I have to text my Chicago Bears friend here for a moment.
Actually, we're gonna pause here before we get to and another thing, and I'm gonna go use the bathroom so you can commiserate. So
thank you very much.
Be right back.
A few moments later.
Okay, sir, what do you have for a recommendation for our listeners and viewers for and another thing this week?
I have the furthest thing from rock music
or new.
Anything like that. This is just because we're in 2026 and the inaugural movie of this trilogy came out in 2001. And believe it or not, it is 25.
You're walking on air? Oh, sorry.
Well, 25-year anniversary of The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and then the subsequent movies, The Two Towers and Return of the King, that came out. I think every year after that they came out, 2002 and 2003. But Fellowship of the Ring, 25th anniversary this year. Been watching apparently on Max, formerly HBO Max. They have the extended editions available for streaming, and so we watched Fellowship of the Ring. Guess how long Two Towers is?
Is that one like 3.5, 4 hours?
Damn
long?
near 4 hours, sir. Yeah. 4 hours.
Well, because I remember back when they first released those, a friend of ours was like, "Yeah, a friend of ours, friend of theirs had edited all 3 movies together, and they're like, yeah, it's 12 hours."
Yeah.
That's insane.
So we started watching Two Towers last night. We watched about an hour of it. Got about apparently 3 other viewing sessions to go before we complete it. But no, I mean, it is a fabulously done, cinematography wise, story wise, musically. I mean, just, next to Star Wars, probably one of the most well done trilogies that I've ever seen of a work. Star Wars, of course, something Lucas came up with, but the way Peter Jackson takes Tolkien's stories and adapts them, and quite honestly, and we talked about this with Andor, some of it is just knowing when to cut stuff. You know what I mean? Like Jackson does a phenomenal job, even in the extended edition, of cutting stuff. And most notably, I was talking to my wife today about, because we were trying to figure out, like, what's the deal with Gandalf, Gandalf the Grey, Gandalf the White, and how does he get to that, and what are the Two Towers and stuff. And when I was reading about Gandalf being resurrected and coming back, it described how his battle with this demon, even though in the movie you see them both kind of go into this like water, like in the depths of this mountain, apparently they get carried out of that through the water to the outside, where they then kind of fight their way up to the top of this peak, and that's where Gandalf slays the Balrog, is at the top of this peak in the Misty Mountains. And the fact that Jackson doesn't, even in the extended edition, doesn't go into that detail, he just shows the end result and finds a way to narratively just kind of explain, Gandalf's experience of just kind of waking up to new life, kind of not remembering precisely who he was, but being reminded by like Aragorn of your name is Gandalf, and then off we go to the fact that he knew what to kind of cut out and keep in is such an art in and of itself. And, I think he really showed how much of a student of the game, so to speak, he was when it comes to that. Because, I like, honestly, I haven't read the 3 books myself. We have them, but I have not read them. But I have to imagine that's got to be a very tall order to know, like, even for the show, when we prepare, we've joked about how I use GPT and try to pull together stuff, but to know like what to keep and what to get rid of is very hard, because everything feels important at some point,
Yeah.
And you feel like that pang of, if I cut this, am I losing something, And I've done this in a very small way for this show, but I have to imagine for Jackson doing something like this that goes out to the public, that is a visual representation of a book that is loved by so many, has got to be a very challenging thing. And so, but he does it with just an amazing sense of what needs to be there and what doesn't. And so, if it's been a while since you've seen it, go check it out. Lord of the Rings trilogy on Max, the extended edition.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Jackson is kind of on record as saying like he's behind release, because there's a lot of directors. There's a lot of directors who've been screwed over in terms of editing or director's cuts or studio cuts or whatever. I believe that Jackson was on record saying like he's okay with them releasing extended editions. He's A-okay because the fans want it, but he still considers the original theatrical versions his definitive version, if I remember right, which totally makes sense. The idea that like, that unless there was some like, oh my gosh, you have to cut it down, and this, and it doesn't sound like that was necessarily the pressure, but it's like, yeah, this is what I envisioned it, and this is how it it worked, and there was a reason why we cut all this stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
Which
is one of those things where, even though I enjoy watching deleted scenes, on DVDs and stuff like that, and there's usually I watch it, I'm like, oh, that's interesting, and a couple times I'm like, I kind of wish they'd included that, but most of the time, like, I can totally see why you cut that. That slows the story down.
Yeah.
Or that makes very little sense, or you don't need to know that. It's fun little artifacts, but there's a lot of the time where it's like, yeah, good idea. Good idea to cut that. And that's totally the mark of a great director, because even though so many things can be saved in an edit or can be polished in an edit, there is very much like a talent to directors who can almost edit as they're making the film and make a lot of those decisions ahead of time. So then the editing process is just like, it's almost like different layers of editing. Like Robert Rodriguez had described, like when he makes a movie, because he's writing it, shooting it while directing it, and then he does the edit himself. He's like, I get all these different swipes at the story. Like I get to edit while I'm writing the script, then I get to edit as I'm creating the shot. I get to making decisions that are essentially an edit. Then when he does the edit, he's like, then I get another chance at it. And it's like, that's a real talent, and especially to be at the point where you're almost like ruthless enough to be like, yep, and that goes. Even though I really like that. Nope, it goes, because it's not necessary. Yeah, that's a huge talent to have.
Yep. What is your and another thing, sir?
My and another thing is also originally derived from the work of a British author, but a very different British author. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams.
Damn, if there's two extremes, it's Tolkien and Adams. So
yes. And I'm sure Douglas would get a big kick out of being mentioned in the same sentence. Over the last, I don't know if I did last year, but the year before that, I definitely read The Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is all 5 of the books that Adams wrote, along with a short story that he wrote. And it's kind of the definitive version. His introduction to the Ultimate Edition is hilarious, because he essentially says, like, this has gone through so many iterations, and there have been so many times that this has been this and this, and he's like, so I can finally say that, if something is wrong now, it is now definitively wrong. So I'm like, all right, good that you can appreciate that. But I just remember reading these books back in the day, and I love going back to them and appreciating them more, and appreciating Adam's writing style. If you have any temptation to watch the movie that was made in the last, I forget how long ago it was now, but had Mos Def in it. I forget. Alan Rickman was the voice of Marvin the Paranoid Android, which was the best part of the movie. Don't watch the movie. Just go get the book. Go get the Ultimate Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. All the books. There is a 6th book that was written by somebody else that continues on the saga. I have not read it. I keep meaning to get it, but read the book. It's far better than any movie or TV adaptation that has been made. It is creating the world in your head, and it is much better. And it really leans into the British humor and just this sense of absurdity of Douglas Adams' writing style. And it just harkens back to when I read these books in grade school, way, 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 way too young to be reading this, missing like 50% of the jokes and 50% of the context. Now it's fun to go back and read it, and I'm like, oh wow, this is so great. Like, it's just such a rich thing. And it kind of goes to what was it, Christopher Plummer, who famously, I think he said he would read the Lord of the Rings books every year. Like that was a tradition that he had. He read all 3 books every year. So I kind of have taken that on with a much more ridiculous set of books, but it's mine, my sort of going back to the well. So yes, definitely recommend The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, even if it's the first book by Douglas Adams or the Ultimate Edition, which I think I'm linking to here. So yeah, check that out if you have a chance.
Very nice.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our show for the week here. And my gosh, it is a brief one this time, but don't get too cozy, because don't get too cozy because next week I believe we're going to do a Royal Rumble preview. I know we're going to yap our asses off about that. So
I'm back in the saddle again. But
it's going to be a wrestling episode, so we're going to talk a long time about it. So
you have to get the belts out. You have to get the side plates out, too. Hey, CM Punk side plates are coming in 2 weeks, baby. 2 weeks! Woo!
Yeah, you don't have a belt to put them in, though.
Yeah, I will shortly. After I pay you.
I was going to say.
I got to pay you first. I will pay you first.
Don't make me, come over there with my pimp hand and start cleaning out all the dirty corners.
Don't make me come with Big Vinny.
But thank you. Thank you to all our listeners. We do so appreciate you out there. You can find all of our episodes at freerangeadc.com and download them all there. Subscribe to the Podbean app. You can also find all of our audio episodes on podcast purveyors everywhere, like Apple Podcasts. We have them on Pandora, Spotify. What's the other one? Amazon. Any of the multi-billion podcast purveyors that are out there, you can find us Free Range ADC. You can also find full video episodes on our YouTube channel. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. All of our socials are at Free Range ADC. Definitely like and subscribe to your heart's content. That just makes us so happy when we see that little bell ring. Ding, ding, ding. You have any questions, any thoughts, any concerns, any ideas, any smart aleck remarks, send those to Tim at freerangeadc.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to turn over this show to the least idiotic member of this show. Granted, there's not much to choose from. I'm just saying it ain't me. But not before I ask the second most important question in all of human history. The first being, what is hip? The second being, did we learn anything this episode? And
of course we did.
Oh, good. Thank goodness.
We've learned the following, my friend. We've learned that, when it comes to music and kind of staying on top of trends, you have to venture outside of the comfort zone.
Yeah!
We've also learned that while, to some it may seem that rock is stalled or is not moving forward or there isn't representation there, oh, hells no, there's a lot of representation, my friend.
He's the red!
To quote the great Kevin Flynn, yeah! But nonetheless, we have also learned that there's a number of bands. In fact, Free Range ADC has come up with 10. Mammoth, Youngblood, Vintage Trouble, Crown Lands, Dirty Honey, Radio Moscow, The Warning, Monoskin, Geese, and Turnstile are all there for the listening, for the ingestion, for the taking.
You mean we came up with an unintentional top 10?
Well, I guess we did. You can thank me for that because I threw 3 in at the end, my friend. You came up with 7.
Good on us.
We've also learned throughout the show that the Chicago Bears did not quite meet the bar, unfortunately. And we will not have the 40th anniversary rematch of the Bears versus Patriots. But fear not, ladies and gentlemen. At least half that equation is still live. The Patriots move on next week and take on the Denver Broncos, where we will single-handedly whoop them from one end of the field to the other. From pillar to post, if you will, because they will not have their quarterback, and we have ours, and, I believe in the Ravens. So we will conquer, we will overcome, we will make it to the Super Bowl, and I am looking forward to, once again, enjoying the Super Bowl where we see the Patriots on one side of the equation, and I don't know who's in it. With all that being said.
Will it be the third time's the charm with the Rams?
Could be.
He's the red!
Could be. With all that being said, we thank you for the listenership, and we'd like to close things out here on the range. Be safe. Wait a minute. We also learned one more thing before I forget. We learned that both Uncle Todd and the man they call Tim have had their experiences with the feline pet, where ankles are swiped at and attacked, and there's personalities to deal with, but nonetheless, we love them, we take care of them, and at some point, we come to an understanding with them. So sometimes that understanding is a yardstick, other times, what was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what that was.
That was a Zen thing, man.
Oh, hit it again. Hit it.
I mistimed it.
I was talking over it.
Well,
You're messing with my Zen thing, man.
The cats are, nonetheless. All right, with all that being said, be safe, be healthy, be kind, be good to one another. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The range is closed for now. See ya.
I like a Mussolini!
Whoa. It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
Yeah?
You're such a disappointing pair. I prayed so hard for you.
So say we all.
Wow.
Wow. I know, just over an hour? What the hell?
I love
now
it.
what?
I love it.
What am I going to do with the rest of my night?
I might spend some more time building the Rage Crest because I still got a ways to go on the engines.
There you go.
We will see.
Have you put any work in since last week?
I have.
Oh, look at you.
You want to see?
Look at you. Oh, well, yeah.
Can we bring it up? Okay, hold on.
Can you actually move it?
I can. Right now, we're basically focused on the engines. So, here we go.
Holy cow.
So there's that. But you can see kind of on the right-hand side, kind of coming together there.
That is ridiculous, dude.
So I got to build this. I think next up is to get this looking like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that's done, I think you put, you basically build the front and the back of it. But yeah, I mean, it's insane. Like I haven't touched the ship in, trying to think. I think.
Now get the hell out of here!